Hello and good evening. Welcome to Unlocking Finance with your financial friend. My name is Ntombi, and as always, I am here to help you unlock your financial potential through simple, practical, and biblical money principles. So over the past 2 weeks, we've been building a powerful foundation, a framework of building wealth. First week, we spoke about building yourself. Second week, we spoke about building your income. And tonight, can you guess what we're speaking about? If you said building your assets, then you are correct. So this is the third step to our framework of building wealth, building your assets. Because truth be told, building income alone does not create wealth. Building your asset portfolio does. So now let's simplify it. What is an asset? An asset is something that puts money into your pocket. So it's something that you own that has the potential of generating an income for you without having to put work into it. So basically, assets is something that can generate an income that is not active income. So it's not something that looks good or something that feels successful, but it's something that generates value or income for you over time. So what are examples of assets? Things like your investments. So it could be a normal investment account, could be a tax-free savings account, could be a retirement account. Whatever investments that you make counts as assets. It could be a business, it could be a rental property, shares, unit trusts, so on and so forth. There's a lot that you can mention as assets. Now, if we compare that to liabilities, a liability is something that takes money out of your pocket. So things like your car payments. Of course, you owe the car dealership and the bank money because you bought money on credit, right? Expensive debt, lifestyle upgrades without return. Now, understand that this is where a lot of us may, mistake or make mistakes, is that we increase income, but we also increase expenses. So we're not even making space for us to be able to have reserves for you to use that money to build your asset portfolio. So if you're in the habit of always increasing your expenses with every increase in income that you acquire, then you never have enough money to build assets with. So you earn a lot of money, but you're not building wealth. So we can say, right, that having a high income doesn't equate to wealth, right? We can say that. And why do we say that? Is because an income with no assets doesn't mean wealth, because you don't own anything. And whatever you own is not generating an income for you, regardless of whether you're working or not. And that's the trap that a lot of people find themselves in. People who are high income earners are in great amounts of debt because of not understanding bad habits, not understanding how money works or how wealth works. That wealth is not equal to a high amount of money, but it equates to your asset portfolio. Your asset portfolio is the important part. It's the key to your wealth. That is your title deed to your wealth. And if it's not something that you're deliberately building, you're not going to be wealthy. You're going to be stuck in that cycle, in that rat race of continuously trying to pursue an income to survive. You will continually be in survival mode if that's what you're going to be doing. So when you go and negotiate, we spoke about this the previous week about negotiating your salary and increasing your income. Don't just focus on increasing your income to increase your lifestyle. You're increasing your income so that you can increase the amount of money that you can use to invest in assets that will help you acquire wealth, that will build your wealth portfolio, that will also generate income for you so that you can have cash flow at any given time and live off that cash flow. Isn't that what you want? Probably most of us dream of being able to retire early. Some of us want to retire at 30. It's possible only if you've built yourself a proper asset portfolio. Once your assets are generating a reasonable income for you to live off, then you don't need to work. You can work as a means of a choice. But many of us find ourselves in a vicious cycle of going to workspaces that we don't want to be in, but because we need the money, we are stuck. And you're stuck there because you don't want to build wealth. When you acquire the money, you're not using it to build wealth. You're spending it on pleasures or pleasantries that are temporary, that run out by the end of the week. And by the end of the week of payday, you don't have any more money and you're sitting there in regret. At some point, you're going to have to make a decision to change the way you do things. At some point, you're going to have to decide that this is not the life that you want for yourself and that you're going to do something different. And it all starts with a choice. But I've shed light on you, or shed light on this topic for you to understand that having a high income doesn't equate to wealth. You're not wealthy because you earn a lot of money. It is what you do with that money. Where's that money going? What is it building? Because you earn that income, you die, and there's nothing left. And that money is spent paying off the debts that you've accumulated because you did not use your money wisely. So use your money wisely. So here, we see in the Bible the principle of stewardship. Stewardship is such an important thing. That's a responsibility that the Lord has given us. Why stewardship? Because everything that we own does not come from us. It's not ours. It belongs to the Lord. The Lord has just entrusted us with it. And our job is to ensure that there's growth. Our job is to ensure that it multiplies. Like we said in the first week, is that we should multiply. We should be fruitful, multiply, have dominion, subdue, and replenish the earth. That's the purpose. That's the responsibility. That's the assignment that God has given us, is to multiply everything that we've been entrusted with. So stewardship is that. It's management. It's managing and acknowledging that everything that we have comes from the Lord, and therefore we will manage it accordingly. We will take care of it and will ensure that it grows. So basically, God gave us a farm, gave us this earth. Let's say this is a farm. He gave us a farm and says, listen, here's everything. Here's the seeds, everything that you need to build this thing. I'm giving it to you. I'm not even going to micromanage you. Here, I've given you everything that you need to be able to be successful. And that's what God has given us with the jobs that we have, with the people, the relationships that we have. He's given it to us, but we are misusing it, or maybe we're not even seeing it from His perspective. And therefore, we do not see God's increase and favor within our lives because we are misusing, we are wasteful. We are misusing what God has given us. We don't have understanding. We don't even seek understanding. And therefore, we wonder why we are in debt. We wonder why we're struggling with depression from financial pressures. Something needs to change. And that decision starts with you, where you're going to have vision and understand that everything that you have comes from the Lord, and you have a plan on how you are going to multiply what the Lord has entrusted to you, how you're going to advance it, make it better, since He gave you the responsibility. So that's basically what stewardship is. Everything that you have, your income, your opportunities, your resources, all of those have been entrusted to you. And it's not just about managing, it's about growing what you've been given, like I said, multiplying. So when you build assets, you're saying that you will not just consume what you receive, but you're saying you will multiply it. The Bible says this, I think he says this in Corinthians. Paul says this. He says, God gives us seed to sow and bread for food. But the problem is that we're eating the seed as well. And then we want to cry out to the Lord in desperation and saying the Lord will provide. Meanwhile, the Lord provided, you were just reckless. Can you imagine how God feels about that? As a child of God, those things don't glorify the Lord when we are wasteful, when we misuse God's resources, all trying to please ourselves and whatever the case may be. God gives us what we need. Your income consists of two things. It consists of seed to sow and bread for food. And that's how you should take your income on a regular basis and split it accordingly. Split it between seed to sow and bread for food. So label it if you need to, where you write down, this is seed to sow for me and this is bread for food. Because that's what it's about. We are about building. We are not just consumers, but we are creators, just like our Father is a creator. We are made in His image. And so if you're made in the image of God and you're not creating and you're not producing or you're not reproducing, then you're not walking in the image of God. You're walking in the opposite direction. And then you wonder why there's no favor, and you wonder why there's no grace, and you wonder why there is resistance. It's because you're not walking in the design that God made for you or for what He intended for wealth purposes. So now, understand, why is this important? Why is this conversation so important? And why do I sound like I'm shouting? Income can stop at any time. You can get sick. You can get retrenched. There's so many challenges that happen. Your income can stop at any time. Someone could decide that you're not going to get anything this month. A client could be missing out on a payment and decide that they no longer want to do this. Or your employer will say, we don't have enough money. We're going to have to let you go. Your income can stop, but you could get into an accident. Or you lose your ability to work. and therefore lose your income as a result of that. Your business can slow down, opportunities can change, the markets can perform differently. But understand that while that happens, you get peace of mind knowing that you have assets. Yes, there may be depreciation and appreciation and all the volatility that comes with it, but it's nothing new. There's nothing new under the sun. All those are part and parcel of the whole process, of the whole journey. But at least you know that you have assets that can help you, that can continue working even when you're not. And that's the difference. Your assets will give you financial stability. They'll give you long-term security. They'll also give you generational impact. And that is how wealth is built over time. It's not built overnight. It's not something that happens on the spot. It's not something that happens in a day. It happens over time. It takes years to build, but it requires patience. So now let's look at the types of assets. Well, if we look at it in our context, I have 4 that I'm going to mention here. There's more, but I'll mention these specific 4. The first type of asset is your financial assets. So these are like your investments, your unit trusts, your retirement annuities. Yes, a retirement annuity is an investment. I know some of us may be told by people saying that retirement is not worth an investment. It is. It is an investment, and it is an asset that generates an income for you. Your tax-free savings account is a good financial asset. So these are accessible ways and easier ways. If you're wondering, how do I start? Where do I start building this asset portfolio? These are the easiest ways to build your asset portfolio. The second type of asset is your business assets. So it could be a side business that you have, or a service-based offering that you have, or a scalable brand. Nowadays, we're living in a time where it's easy, to go on social media. You can build a proper brand, get brand deals from different partners, sponsorships, and all of that. That can leverage as and count as business assets. That can also be an asset portfolio that you build for yourself. But also, it's important for you to inform yourself or be well informed on those industries and how they operate, so that you can maximize on the returns. You don't just want to involve yourself in industries that you do not know anything about, and you find yourself starting and then going back to zero because you were not well informed, which takes me back to week 1 of building yourself, making sure that you're informed about what's happening. So that's your business assets, right? So your income can become an asset when it's structured well. The third type of asset is your property assets. A lot of people speak about this. When we speak about building wealth, the first thing they speak about is property. But property is not the only type of asset that's around. But yes, it's one of it. It's one of them. Your property, your land, rental properties, your student accommodation, your shared housing. There's many ways in which you can invest in property assets. So this property can generate a consistent income if you have it managed properly. It can go both ways. It can go well or it can go bad. But like I said, if you educate yourself on these industries or the property market and get the right people in your corner, then you should be set for life. Number 4, your intellectual assets. So things like courses, your books, your digital products, your content platforms. So your content creation does count as assets because those are intellectual property. It's things that you've put work into, that you've acquired knowledge for, and that you've put effort into to add value to the people around. So that also adds as an asset. And these allow you to earn beyond your time. So you can decide that you are going to be working for a specific period of time, and then once the thing is done, you post it maybe on your website, post it on your social media platforms, and the people just purchase it at any given time. So you could be sleeping and somebody maybe from a different time zone purchases your product. You're earning money while not having to do anything about it anymore because you've already invested the time and now the work is being done while you're sleeping or when you're not working, rather. So now let's move on to how do you start building assets? I know that's probably what you've been waiting for me to mention. So to simplify it, a lot of us get overwhelmed. There's a lot of information. We're living in an information age. There's a lot going on. There's so much information. Where do we start? Where do we look? Step 1, create margin. You cannot invest if everything you earn is spent. Oh my goodness. This is something you think, isn't that obvious? But so many of us are victims to this thing. So many of us are slaves to this system that we've created for ourselves that's working against us, where we are we are spending money. Like there's no money that stays. Like our monies don't stay until the end of the month or until the next payday. The money is gone in 2 days. The money is gone in 3 days. So the first step to you ensuring that you can start building assets is create a margin. Say 40% will go here, or I will make sure that I have 20% that will go to investing or building. You need to set a margin. Say at least I need to have 10% of my income left by the end of the month. You can't just be spending everything. And that also goes to week 1 about building yourself, building your character. You need to be able to say no to certain things. Even if someone feels like it's urgent, hey, I'm so sorry that your child is going through 1, 2, 3. However, I'm not in a position to be able to assist right now. Why? Because you are busy building something. You don't need to respond to every emergency. You don't have to attend to every, inquiry, or you don't have to, spend money on everything that comes up. Be intentional, put margins and say, no matter what happens, let me at least have 10%. Especially when you're starting off. Fine if maybe there are emergencies in the future, but at least you have an emergency fund that's been, that you have on the side that you can take funds from, or you've built something that you can maybe withdraw money from. But if you don't have anything, you have no business, being overly generous or overly or being lavish about your finances. You are sabotaging yourself. Prioritize correctly. You're on a journey. Be strict about it. Set a system for yourself and be strict on it. Set that margin and say, listen, this is how much I'm going to make sure at least stays behind no matter what happens. This is how much I'm going to ensure that I'm going to invest on a monthly basis. Don't guess, don't thumbsuck, but be intentional. Step number 2, start small, but start now. Many of us are like, I will start next week or start next year. I'll start when I have money. When my things are coming together, I'll start. Listen, time is not on your side. You don't even know that. You don't know whether time is on your side or not. Time is not something you should be playing around with. If you have the opportunity, then do it. That's what I'm paraphrasing. This is a little bit out of line, but it's the same thing that Paul said. He said that now is the time of salvation. We need to have that now thing when it comes to building. We can't keep procrastinating and leaving things for later. Have that now is the time. Today is the time that I'm going to invest, even if I have to invest 100 Rand. Even if I have to invest 500 Rand. Maybe, yes, some of the bank charges or some of the charges, the fees are going to eat away, but there's something. Get yourself into that habit. Remember, your financial journey, your wealth journey is also about character. It's about who you're becoming. So you're becoming a person who's always investing. So it's not always only about the amount, but it's about who you are. You're becoming this disciplined person, this intentional investor in the process. Consistency matters. So number 3, be consistent. Wealth is built through time, discipline, and repetition. This is self-explanatory. You need time, you need discipline, and repetition. Simple. There's no tricks to it. There's no go look at the markets and try and gamble. It's not a gambling thing. It's a process. It's a journey that takes years. So be patient, have the discipline, use your time to your advantage, and repeat. And number 4, don't just spend your returns. So we get our returns, you're like, whoo, maybe I'm getting my tax rebate from my RA, and you take that money and you spend it. Why not reinvest it? You don't need it. Reinvest it so they can build something bigger. Well, it's entirely up to you, but you get more returns when you reinvest your returns. So use that money to build more assets or a bigger portfolio. Think bigger. Don't think about trying to just satisfy yourself. Of course, now if you find yourself in an emergency and you need the money, go for it. But if not, why do you need to spend it? Do you really need to spend it? Why not build more? Build a bigger asset portfolio. Now, what are the common mistakes that we make with assets? Is that we're waiting to be rich before investing. Like, I need R1 million first. No, you don't. You can start with your 200 Rand. You can start with your 500 Rand. Remember, it's all about who you're becoming as well. Understand that waiting, it delays your wealth building. I told you that time is one of the biggest assets that you have. The time is what money has, but time is not what you have. Confusing your lifestyle with assets. A car is not an asset unless it generates an income. So if maybe you're running an Uber business, for instance, and it's generating a profit, then maybe you can say it's an asset. But if it's a car and all you're doing is just spending money to maintain it, it's not an asset. Another mistake is lack of patience. Oh my goodness, God help us here. The Bible says that the fruit of the Holy Spirit, one of it is patience, long-suffering. Yet when it comes to money, it goes out the window. God help us. Wanting quick returns instead of long-term growth. I've dealt with clients who want to withdraw their Two-Pot money. What are you doing with your Two-Pot money? Why are you withdrawing Two-Pot money? It is meant for retirement to take care of you when you're no longer working. Why are you withdrawing money that is meant for the future you? You are stealing away from yourself because we don't have patience. God help us. Another mistake we make is not getting guidance, and that leads to poor decisions. I know a couple of individuals that do get guidance, but they don't listen. They don't take it. And you find yourself in the same position, if not even worse, because we don't take advice or we don't listen to guidance. So don't make that mistake. Don't make these mistakes that I've mentioned. Now understand that one of the most powerful principles in building assets is compound growth. That's how we leverage. That's how you make that money. And that's how it works. It's compound growth, right? This is where your money earns. And those earnings also earn. Over time, this will create exponential growth for you. This is why, because starting early matters, consistency matters, discipline matters. And understand that assets are not just about you, they're about your legacy. They're about your family, your future, your generational wealth. You can't say you want to build generational wealth, but you don't have any assets. When you build assets, you are building something that can outlive you. Now let's quickly recap. Assets put money in your pocket. Stewardship requires growth, not just management. Assets create stability and long-term wealth. Start small. Stay consistent and reinvest. Think beyond yourself. Think legacy. Because income pays you, and while income pays you, the assets will sustain you. Now, the key that I'm leaving with us tonight is don't just spend what you earn. Build assets that will continue to pay you long after the work is done. So next week, we are concluding this series with step 4, which is repeat. Because wealth is not just a once-off thing. It is built through cycles of discipline, growth, and consistency. And you don't want to miss it. So thank you so much for joining me tonight on Unlocking Finance with your financial friend. My name is Ntombi, and do reach out to me on social media on all platforms, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, at Your Financial Friend. Let me know how this has helped you, and let me know if there's anything that you want to speak about, or if you want to meet up with me on a one-on-one consultation, do feel free to send me a DM or comment on one of my posts, and I'll be able to assist you. Otherwise, thank you so much. Have yourself a great evening. Good night.